Hey Hunnies, it's Ashley. Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of Honey It's Yours. This is now part 2 of the episode. Hope you enjoy.
But to me, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to tell you you upset me. And I'll just let you slide. Go ahead.
So you said something.
No, answer your
you
question.
didn't answer the question.
Well, I am, but it ties into what Sarah just said. This whole "I will let you slide" thing, right? Because I am an avoidant at all costs. That is the end of the sentence. If there is a conflict, I will run in the other direction, regardless of if I initiated it, if someone else initiated it. But this whole letting it slide, slur, letting it slide, is letting it slide equivalent to forgiveness?
No.
I agree. Because what I do is I will let everything slide because I don't want the conflict. And in doing so, time passes. I forget, not necessarily forgive, but I forget because time has passed. And now when things happen again, it's like, oh wait, this happened a while ago.
It's not forgiveness. It's when shit hit the fan. How long ago? You got a list.
So now that comes to the next point.
That's not forgiveness.
Everything on my list.
I'm sorry. That's one thing I cannot stand.
Resentment. The list is equivalent to resentment because
I
now
can't stand that.
you have a stack of content
because you decided on your own.
Talking about this happened in May of last year. This happened in June of last year, and we never spoke about it because it was small.
So I would say forgiveness is an active step that you take every day. Some certain things that you let slide, you swallow, you don't bring up. I think it's the definition of what you said. You choose not to be angry about the situation. The extra step about it is, I think, is the extra thing. Like reconciling is bringing it up, acknowledging that happened in front of the other person, and trying to bring that relationship back again. So that's like the extra stuff. But I also think like forgiveness is a journey type thing because I also don't agree with having a list. And because it's just like holding that thing against them. But also, for me, when I let things slide, I tend to not hold a thing against them, but I see things. The way you carry yourself and the way you act is part of who you are.
It's the way you act.
It's the way you are. The way you act is who you are. You cannot say certain times you were not pretending to be somebody else. You the way you're acting is the way you are. Right. So if you do A, if you walk like A, you talk like A, you are A. So if you talk like A, I let it slide. I let it slide because I'm gonna let you be A because that's who you are. Every day we're getting to know each other more. We're learning each other more. So I'm saying, okay, this person's more like A. So who am I to now say, and like, you're acting like A. At the first time you show me A. I feel like that doesn't allow you to be your true self and show me who you are. I'll allow people to show me who they are, see who they are, and after that, I'll leave. Is that me holding a list? No. Or is it me evaluating
you're
your character?
Collecting data.
So I
evaluating your character.
I agree with that. Because that's how I move.
I think that's a logical thing.
That is how I move too. I very much, everybody's allowed in Sarah's life until you show me that you don't need to be here. That's one. Two, I have to say that I think with forgiveness, it really, this might sound crazy coming out of my mouth, it really depends on how much I love you. Like truly. You guys, unless you like kill my family, I don't see myself not forgiving you for things.
Is that forgiveness or is that reconciliation?
It's
forgiveness.
So she won't feel the type of way unless you kill her family. If you do something to her, like if you talk to her man, she will decide to not feel a way about you.
No. I understand that part, but what I'm saying is the
second part.
We specifically because you love us to the degree that you've chosen to love us. For me, that's, and I'm just generally asking, is that more of a you'll let it slide and come back to this friendship? It may not be in the same way, but you're choosing to come back to the friendship.
Yes.
The come back to the friendship part is not the forgiveness part. That's the reconciliation part.
Correct.
Hello. That's why I was asking.
Forgiveness is the precursor to reconciliation.
And that's why I was asking is what you're talking about specifically forgiving us, or are you actually talking about the the reconciliation part. You're
I'll
choosing
the forgiveness
to
part.
reconcile with us because we're at a stage now where you feel like you can have those things and you
To
can work things
reconcile, you
out.
must forgive.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So
We're
I think
in the disagreement with that at all.
I think off rip, like from the beginning, like it's just a baseline of forgiveness for my friends.
Because you love them.
If you're in my like close circle, which
You
is
choose-
like you four and you three and like 4 other people, like
1, 2, 3, 4.
I
5,
think I
six,
have like almost unlimited forgiveness. One person, we should not have unlimited forgiveness for, but we're here now. But as
If
for
you
the
think she's talking about you, she probably is.
he don't listen to the podcast.
Maybe you should reconcile.
As for the reconciliation part, again, that would be easy for me because out of love, I move past those situations a lot easier for people that are close to me. So like,
there's more grace.
me and you get into shit all the time. I have no problem, and I actually work harder to reconcile with you because of how much I love you and how much I value this. For other people, other situations, again, back to the recent situation that happened with the federal, I did not care to reconcile because you didn't really play a role in my life in general. If I see you in person, it's hello, hi, nice to see you, goodbye. That's me reconciling in my forgiving in my head. No beef, no issue. Go ahead and do you. I'm gonna do you. I'll see you when I see you. But again, I think forgiveness for me is very much rooted in love for the people that I love. But I don't know if I need to operate that way with everybody.
Is it godly to only extend the forgiveness and grace and reconciliation to those that you feel are valuable, and not on?
But that sounds like I'm objectifying people.
No, but
because we are called to.
I love a lot of people.
The reason why I phrased the question the way I phrased the question is because, like you said, you're choosing to see him. You're choosing to say hi, bye. You're not being disrespectful. You're chilling. You're doing what you have to do, but you're not extending more of yourself to him. And for me, that's why I was like let's, even if it's not in this episode in these next 45 minutes, but like let's sit down and actually start to decide what are the definitions of these separate words. Because everything you said, you forgave him. It was whether it was harder or not, you forgave him, but you're not interested in reconciling with him. In terms of the definition, the federal, whoever you're talking about, I don't know. Like that was my point in saying what I said. I'm not negating that you didn't forgive everybody, but like literally the words that came out your mouth is like you would be more intentional, more, not in the same way I'm paraphrasing, but like more intentional, more interested in doing work to bring your relationship with Rianne back to where it was because of the history. You're not interested in doing work to bring your relationship back with him. You're good. But you ain't not forgive him. You just chose not to reconcile. And that's why I was saying, are you talking about actual forgiveness? No, I think we've all established we will forgive, and in general we're going to continue to work on forgiving people, but we're deciding after we forgive how much do other people deserve in our own words, or whatever we decide deserving or whatever it is. Do they like get from us? And that's why I was saying I don't think you're talking about forgiveness. I think you're talking about reconciliation.
I think nowadays also like kind of it's not a trauma response, but like a resentment response for how I've operated in the last 3 years.
Resentment comes from trauma.
Because shut up. Just because I've always been so forgiving, so reconciling.
You're gonna have
to the point where you can step on me all over. You can do whatever. And you still have access to Sarah. You can still talk to Sarah. Call me up whenever. And that's the reconciling. And to me, it was me being, that was in the name of me being like, not a good Christian, because I don't think God calls us to do that as much. I don't even know what it was. Probably people pleasing in my eyes. But currently, right now, for the last year and a half, I have not operated like that. And it's been so... Actually, put your hand down.
No, because listen to this. Imagine you were God. How many times we have abused, done things that he does not see as right, and he has chosen to forgive and allowed his grace and mercies and allow us to come back to him and access him in the same way that we were able to access him before.
But I'm not
You know what I'm saying?
But I think called to try and live a life.
Of course, we're gonna try our best,
right?
But I'm saying what's right and what's wrong. Mm-hmm. If we're gonna try do a black and white, because right now we're discussing the gray. Because we are human, we're discussing the gray. Mm-hmm. But if we go to the black and white, if we're called to act Christ-like, be more godly, be more righteous, His grace allows us to escape the punishment. As much as we cannot escape the consequences, positive and negative, we're still able to access him the same way we were yesterday, as much as we have done bad today.
But that's not.
We could have cursed God yesterday and say that he does not exist. Come back today because he allowed us to breathe today and still call his name and be like, "Yo, I need you right now," and he will show up.
I don't disagree one bit. I don't disagree.
So do we do that right now? If someone wronged you yesterday, called you all types of B's, A's, C's, and D's, right? And said, "Yo, Sarah, can you please? I need you to pull up, or I need you to sell me 50 beans right now. 50. Will you sell me 50 beans? Me, actually, I'm looking to the camera.
Red button.
God, I'm sorry. I'm working on myself, and I see that it's wrong with me. I'm not saying you're 25." Not the full 50.
And 25. I got 5 for you. Bro. I got 5, bro. I got 5. My cash shot down, bro.
That's where I was going to when we were trying to come up with this topic was like, what's the black and the white? We're discussing the gray, but with the black and the white, we don't do what is right. I think.
We're never going
but
to.
For me, I think for me, we're never going to. We're striving to, but we're never going to.
But I'm for me, I don't relate and I don't agree.
Is this even wise to operate like that?
Actually, okay, it sounds crazy, but I don't.
Here's the thing.
As much as you would steal a guy would still allow you to get a job as a banker.
As much as you operate like if I was perfection and I was God, I'm sorry for the blasphemy, which is never gonna happen. If I decide to be like God exactly,
try.
You cannot control what other people are doing. People are evil,
and he can't.
And you want me, Sarah?
He can't control. We have free will. We cannot control. He knows the future, but he cannot control.
We can't.
He allows us to do whatever we want.
But to a certain extent, I cannot. I for respect for myself and others, I cannot allow certain thing into my life. I can't do that.
I'm challenging.
I know
we're gonna go into different topics, like scenarios and stuff. I'm challenging the thought of, is that okay? So like the scenario of, I know one scenario that we have about forgiveness was like, if your spouse, we're talking about marriage.
Jesus.
We took a commitment to be monogamous, me and you and me, forever. Until death do us part, and he decides to commit adultery and cheat on you.
My God,
how would you respond?
You're forgiven and I'm letting you back in my life. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? Be for real.
You know what's funny? I feel like I would.
I
feel like I would.
Oh fuck no! I'm sorry.
We already had this conversation.
I feel like I would.
It's 2 things. And I can put this out because I don't care. You hit me, you cheat on me.
Hit me, there's no coming back.
You see the 1, 2, deuce. Deuce, you hit me, you cheat on me, you're out. You're done. 2 things. Disrespectful, I don't care. You don't even have to bring a baby back. You don't have to bring an STD back. You don't have to do nothing back. That's it. Over with. Line drawn in the sand.
Why would you forgive?
I mean, I don't know if I have the details of it worked out. If I'm being honest, we spoke about this a couple years ago. So, bringing it back, my 22nd birthday, we did a B&B in Jersey, and that's the first time.
Ties back to a birthday with May. Like, notice her
Come
stories.
to my birthday parties.
Facts.
That's how it started. We called my pastor at like 2 a.m. and we chopped it up on the phone about forgiveness. That's really what happened. I don't know if it's one thing or another, and I don't think it has anything to. I think it has a lot more to do with me and things that I'm working through as a person than even like the concept of forgiveness, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know. I feel like we're not perfect in all regards. And I would like, in my brain, I mean, granted, it could happen today and I could be like, fuck you and everything that comes from you and go. But part of me does feel like, for me, I don't think it won't be that black and white. I think like when there's things invested in like lives and all these other things, like it's not just one act, because if all of us were to be defined off of our worst moments, then who are we as people? You know what I'm saying? And that's just me and how I would regard. I try my best to operate in life in general. So that's why this whole conversation, like you said, I'm very quiet this episode because this is low key getting me tight. Because I just don't relate. Like I don't. But I just feel like I'm not gonna sit here and define who you are off the one act in which you have what.
Based on our coach pastor, right? And we said this. I'll repeat it again. We're saved by the punishment, but not saved by the consequences after your actions.
Okay, and that's what he was talking about. You can forgive and still not have people back in your life in the same capacity.
I said that's
which
what
is
I
biblical.
Do. I said that's what I do.
Okay. And for you to be 100% cool with that, but then not be cool with the other things that you said earlier and the whole consequences for that part.
It's not right.
So
it's not right, but
that in itself is very.
So what part?
And that's okay for me. She said what I'm saying is not right, and I said it's not right.
I'm saying it's not right. I'm just saying she's contradicting herself as well.
I mean, think we're all.
I don't give it.
But I'm
not me.
When I said I'm not like.
What the real
so you reconcile with everybody.
Damn. Okay.
I don't. What do you mean? I have conversations with everybody because I understand. Like, I know me. So like you and I are similar in the way in which we handle things. Like I'm not. None of us enjoy conflict. I'm okay with having the uncomfortable conversation because I feel like that's where the growth happens. That's where this is where things come to be. Right. I'm not okay with the sweeping things under the rug, and I'm not okay with people deciding on their own who I am as a person, because when people has expressed to me things that may or may not happen, three things happen. I see it and I grow as a person. I see it and I choose for myself how much of them that I want to give in certain situations because I care about them. Right. And that's a choice that I'm choosing to do. Or I choose to act the same way. And I feel like somebody choosing to make a perception or like a judgment on me without ever having that conversation with me is selfish in its own right. That's just me. That's how I move. Yeah. But there's so much happening in this episode. It's hard for me to kind of keep track of everything. But like, I'm not okay. Like, so when all those things happen, I don't like that. It doesn't sit right with me because I just feel like you made the decision on your own, and then you're gonna come to me later and say it was my fault, and I don't think that's fair. That's just how I move with that. In terms of what Ashley asked about, if you wrong me today and you called me tomorrow, would I give you the $50? I would. And there's nothing any of y'all can say or do to y'all have no receipts to say that that's untrue, because that's not who I am as a person. For us or like for anybody? I'm talking about in general. There are people that do not talk to me in life, and they could call me right now and they could ask me for money and I would give it to them. So no, because that's just how I am. That's how I was raised. And for me, forgiveness, reconciliation, rectification has no place in that, because that's me deciding who's right and who's wrong, and I can't make that decision for you. Like, that's me doing something for you because God told me to love. And if you're in a space where A through Z happen, and now we on Z prime, and you still choose to call my phone, you called my phone for a reason. And I don't have any problem doing that for you, because I'm not expecting anything back from it. I'm not holding it against you. I don't want anything from you. You called me because you needed me. I'm here. We're good. If you give it back to me, that's great. When it hit my account, I love you. And if it don't hit my account, I'm perfectly fine, because I wasn't expecting it from you. Sorry.
Can I ask you a
question? Go
ahead. Because I think to a certain capacity, I'm going to say I was once like this, where if you called me, no matter what wrong you did to me, I would be there. I was struggling with the feeling of being used and taken advantage of in that instance, because the people who are asking me for these things know how I am when it comes to forgiveness, where whether it's forgiveness or this whole brushing it under the rug, which we've now matured and grown from, but it's like, regardless of what happens, I can still look at you and treat you as such, to the point where it's like
taken for granted,
you know. And it gave that, especially because when the situation was quote unquote good, it wasn't even good for real, because like I'm thinking about one situation specifically where he was never ever good to me, never. But I was just so consumed with what that relationship was at that time, that once it had its time and was done, if it was, oh, I'm hungry, can you send me 5 for a Wendy's 4 for 4? I'm sending it. And it's just like, in my mind, did I forgive him? Am I just being nice because I'm supposed to be kind to people? Is it that I still like him? Like, what led to me still feeling that I can send him the bread?
And I think for me, so like, and I think this is cool because it's the two of us. Like, we operate very differently in life. right? So like one, it's two parts of that. There's you deciding to use wisdom, is you sitting down with yourself and seeing what can I give to you without diminishing or hurting me further. Okay. I don't think forgiveness is breaking yourself and hurting yourself to love on somebody else. Okay. I don't think that's what it is.
It's not costing you to give them the love.
And I'm not talking about the growing pains of like learning and loving and like being uncomfortable. I'm talking about like I'm allowing you to stay in my space and literally hurt me as a person. That's just me. I don't think those things go together. Okay. But then on the flip side for me, like I said, I'm extremely communicative even when it's uncomfortable.
Oh, that's true.
We're going to talk. I am very much the type to tell you, do not hit my line unless it's an emergency. I love you. I'm not deleting your number. You have decided this is how you want to act. We got here. Where we are right now, I can see that like we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this. Mm-hmm. If you need me, I'm here. But outside of that, it's not everything else. Mm-hmm. You needing food?
What do you call that process?
What do you mean? What do I call that process?
Of you saying that regardless of anything, if you needed anything, I'm here.
Would that be forgiveness?
I think that's a part of me. I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think like
of both.
I'm about to go into it. I think like before the mature part of it, I feel like the selfish part, the immature part of it is like you're not finna say that I left you where you was at when you needed me. Mm-hmm. But then on the other hand of it, the other side of it, as I grow and like even now, like as I'm in I didn't really want to do this topic. I wanted to do this topic, but then like when I sat down in this last week to like talk about it and think about it, I was like, I don't want to do this topic because I've lost a lot of people in the last like year or two, and like when I had to sit with myself and like figure out why and all the like what I did, what they did, how life just like worked for us. It's just like you're not gonna say I'm not here for you, but then on the flip side too, it's like I love you. I see you. We're not where we need to be. And I'm like, at where we are right now, we're going to have to agree to disagree on a lot of things. We're going to have to, there's no conducive space for us to continue being our full selves in ways that are healthy for us where we are now while still being together. But it doesn't mean that I'm not here if you need something. I don't know if that makes sense.
That to me just means I'm not here. Granted,
but my thing is, I'm not gonna ignore your call. Let me say one thing. There's no animosity for me to see your name come up on my phone and be like, why is Sarah calling me?
Let me say one thing.
I can still say why is Sarah calling me and answer the phone.
In retrospect, I'll say all these things, but in reality and actions, if somebody calls me that has hurt me before, I'm still gonna answer, and I'm still gonna be there, and that's out of the love part. But I, Sarah, am tired of doing that. Because I'm tired of giving people access that they don't need. And they shouldn't have, to be honest. Time is valuable. Sarah's time is valuable. Sarah's energy is valuable. But I would never prioritize me and all of these things. I don't agree with that. I think it's always important to keep people above you. But to a certain extent. And learning a healthy balance with that. And that's why I've started hating forgiveness. At some point. No, seriously. This has been a very harsh fight because in the last 3 months, I have been up and down with people. Bleep this out. Forgiveness after forgiveness after forgiveness after forgiveness. Still gave him access. Still allowed him to talk to me. Still, that's me being stupid. I agree. No, not right now. We ended a while ago. But over the summer, talking.
Well, after we got your car. After that,
yes, kept talking. Yeah, I've kept allowing that behavior, and then when we ended, all the truth came out. I got cursed out. I got yelled at on the phone. Left and right, because I kept forgiving. I kept reconciling. Reconciling. Leave this out also. We have been through 3 years of me being tortured and him being all right. And I'm still in it.
I felt that.
I'm still in it now because that's a whole other situation. But the forgiveness in me and me wanting to keep reconciling and the love that I have for him is what keeps me in it. So I said how much I love you matters. But that's the fight that I have because the forgiveness and the reconciliation comes, but like the love has to mix in there. But to what extent am I pushing myself to a certain extent?
Can I ask you a question? And I mean, we could probably just and then come back. So what I would say is, I don't know, but I would say also about the
bleep, please.
No, this is, I don't even know if this is gonna make it at this point. But my question is, and the reason I brought it up is because it reminds me a lot about and like I literally feel like we had a breakthrough for the first time in the last few months that we didn't have before. How much of it is solely I'm forgiving you, separate from I am still loving you and attached to you, and in the back deepness of my lower spine that I don't even, like, my brain will not acknowledge is there, I still see, want, and love something and want something from, like, love you and want something from you.
That's the part of why are you forgiving this
right
person?
Because that's not this, and like that's not the same thing, and they're not necessarily separate.
That goes
and when you're
into
talking
why
about like
I think
how much I love
wrong.
you, then you have to sit down and qualify the different kinds of love and see which love is getting you where you are, right? Because like if you love he could do all the shit until something in your brain wake you up, and you wake up today and you say, hold on, wait.
But that's
it's not that you don't love him, it's just different.
What capacity
It's a different kind, and I'm not even not to
that's
death.
what you no it is.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that there's unconditional loves in different realms too, though. And I the reason I'm saying that way is because that's just my thing. But like you see that part, and I'm saying that, and it finally made sense this summer.
Sometimes you'll be unconditionally loving somebody until the condition happens, and then you realize this is the condition.
That was the condition.
That's why I said that's unconditional.
And that's why I said it's not,
unconditional
because
love.
it's like it's low-key a condition, but you don't realize the condition is there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the human flesh part. That's why I even myself, I fight with the right, because it is the flesh. Every day we're trying to be better, but because I am human, we hold memory, we hold pain. We can still sometimes you hear a song, you smell a fragrance, and it brings you right back to how you felt in that moment, right? But when you go back, when you feel that moment again, right, and you feel the hurt, that's what holds us back from forgiving. And it also goes back to, why are you choosing to forgive this person? Are you trying to forgive this, or are you trying to forgive this person because you still want something from this person, or do you want to free yourself from this situation and not the person?
And I don't think either is good, though, and that's just me.
So for me,
I like to hit forgiveness because it's what I'm supposed to do.
I'm just saying and that's why you forgiving. I'm forgiving this person because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's the answer to why I'm forgiving. But sometimes we fall into, I'm forgiving this person because I want to continue this relationship. I'm forgiving this person because of the history we have.
I don't know how
I'm forgiving this person because I know how they are, and that's how they are, and this is what it is.
I'm telling you.
And
I know that shit.
I'm forgiving this person because I know in the future they might turn around and be the best person for me. I'm forgiving this person because, like, are we forgiving these people because it's what we're supposed to do, or are we forgiving and to free to free ourselves, or are we forgiving this person because of what could happen after we free ourselves?
For me,
the conditions and expectations after forgiving is what's holding us back.
Right. For me, I don't like being upset at people. I don't like having that feeling internally that I have an issue with somebody.
Yeah.
It hurts and it's uncomfortable.
It takes too much space.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
Because I don't like feeling like I don't get along with someone. So for me, forgiveness comes like this. I'll forgive like this. It's the steps after that are even harder.
Yes.
But like with Ree, for example, we get into stuff, I don't know, once or twice a year, whatever it is. But for me, reconciling with her is like this. I don't, it's wiped out because I want to keep going in that, and that's something active that I want. For other situations, I just like, I'll forgive like this, but it's the next step that I'm like,
okay, so now how do I move?
What do I do?
How do I
go
forward with this person?
What do you mean by the next step?
how do I go forward with this person?
Right.
No, I want like
the person not dead.
a tangible like when I see them in person.
It's
how do
easy
I
to
act?
forget somebody that's dead. I'm sorry.
One thing I'm gonna do is always act right. I'm not acting crazy. I'll say hi to you.
That's the reason I'm asking. Like when you said like how do I move forward? Is I'm
internally, I guess.
No, how do I now? Okay, this comes to the confrontation and conflict first. Now, after I've forgiven you, now do I tell you that you have hurt me? Do I now tell you nothing and continue in the way that we have been before, or do I not tell you nothing and just move different?
No, but you move different. Is all you.
And
have.
that goes down to now the conflict resolution,
right?
Our personalities and stuff like that. Because for me, I'm gonna forgive, and I'm gonna move different.
So now I have a question.
I just started doing that.
I have a question.
I'm gonna move different
because you talked about how it's an individual choice, right? It's based on how you are as a person. So I want to shift because we've been talking a lot about forgiving others. What about when it comes to now forgiving yourself?
Oh.
Is that a different
process?
Is that a completely different thing than what we've been saying? Because I know, like, for myself, I'm real quick to forgive other people. But when it comes to forgiving myself, I am still pissed off that I took this stupid freaking job, bro. To this day, I have not forgiven myself for taking that job. And it's like the same grace that I give other people to try me and try me and try me and re-enter situations with the idea of I am choosing no longer to hold resentment and I'm choosing not to be angry about this anymore. Why is it that it takes so much more out of me to give myself that same respect when in reality you're supposed to be advocating for yourself every day, because if not you, then who? Right? So I just wanted to see if y'all were in a different space, and if yes, how can I get there?
I move the same way. I forgive myself and move different with myself, but certain times things trigger me and bring me back to now questioning why I did something in the past, right? So like I try my best to move. All we can do is try our best, but after I forgive myself about something that I chosen to do or something that I chosen to allow in my space, at that moment, I thought this was the best thing I could do. At the moment, I weighed the pros and I weighed the cons, and it's just hindsight. It's 2020, right? And I can only look back and be like, damn, actually, you should have done that. You ever like have those cringe moments? You be doing something really close and you feel
all of a sudden you remember something horrible that you did 2 years ago.
Like, why did I bust that split? Like, why did I do
why
this?
Why did I
put that on? Why did my
hair?
hair? Like, I forgive myself and
embarrassing.
For me, I just laugh.
You laugh?
No, I do.
Must be nice.
I break out and laugh, and I can't tell people why I'm laughing because I just remember the memory of something that I did, and I was like, yo, Ashley, you're wildin'.
Super wildin'.
Why'd you do that?
Why did you split?
If something triggers me and now I'm not go back and I'm like beating on myself about it, I'm very quick to acknowledge that, yo, the reason why you're thinking like this is because this happened. Like I'm real quick to analyze why I feel something about something. You know, why do I feel this way? It's because somebody told me this in the past and that made me feel this type of way and made me feel this type of way. Now I start thinking about myself in this type of way.
Her therapist, my bad.
No, I do the same thing.
I do. I'm quick to know.
Always trace it back to what happened before.
I don't want that to come out and hurt somebody else because I didn't. Because I'm triggered and now I hurt somebody else after.
I agree.
I don't like to hurt people. I try my best not to hurt people.
I don't want to project either.
I don't want to project like to other people. So, yeah, I laugh it off, and if it's triggering, like the forgiveness moment is triggering, then I need to take a step back. I might go quiet. I might go into my shell for the moment and just recalibrate.
I can't say the same for myself. I am very, very, very slow to forgive myself. Extremely slow to forgive myself. I fight myself every day. The one person that I literally have conflict with every single day is myself.
So now how do you move forward?
And I don't know how. I honestly, in the last year with like law school and stuff, I've just learned like grace.
Swimming, bro.
I've just learned grace for
Just
myself.
Keep swimming, that's what she said.
And I've been learning like just to, chill on me a little bit. It's not that crazy. Just relax. You're just a human being. You're just a human being.
Well, you're doing great.
And the last year has been relieving, but learning this has been so difficult because before I was literally wired to always think I was a problem, to always think that I was the issue, I had something to fix, I had to be perfect in the situation, all of these things.
Whole time.
Consistently.
Whole time. It's you dealing with
Right. So now, I think also because it's like me living by myself, so I don't have like people to not compared to, but like my parents aren't around, my sister isn't around. It's just me, and it's on me to get me where I gotta get. So with like not, where was I going with this? With forgiving myself, it's been a lot easier because I walk in and I'm like, shit, you just spent $100, done something, you probably shouldn't have done that. But hey, it's okay. Be better next time. Before, no. Wasn't happening. Do you forgive yourself?
I feel like yes and no, but if I had to choose, I guess technically it would be no. If you have to say both, right? I think, in general, I have a very high level of self-awareness. I've been told that like my whole life, like even in my few little stints of therapy, they're like, you have a. I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know what's happening. I understand the fact is.
Therapy.
Huh?
So I can't go to therapy.
That's a whole different
to
thing.
be self-aware, you don't want to know about yourself.
I feel like I know
too much.
But I acknowledge like even what Ashley was saying about like knowing how things play together and how did you get here. Like I understand, I see all of that. That doesn't faze me. I think I do a good job at forgiving myself in the short term, but in the long term, I don't. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I can forgive myself in the week, the 2 week, the month span, but the 3-month span, I don't forgive myself. And that's why I said yes and no, because really it's not. I'm like, I qualify, I understand, I rationalize the things that I'm doing. I understand how for other people, this is okay. I understand this is okay. I understand you did this for this reason, and it was fine that you did that because that's what you needed at that time. But then when I sit down and I see like, for me, my forgiveness thing is more has to do with like the goals that I set for myself. It's not really like my actions. My actions, I forgive myself all the time. I have no problem with that because I understand, like I said, we're not always perfect, and I also know me. I'm extremely communicative. I'm extremely willing, ready, and able to have the hard conversations. So I don't hold anything against myself for those things, like ever. But more so in regard to the goals and like the things that I made set for myself. It's like, damn, you didn't get this done. In the moment, you needed that. It's fine. It's cool. Da da da. But when I sit down and I'm like 3 months on, it's just like fuck. But and so that's why I said I don't think it's actual forgiveness. That's why I said the yes and no. Like in the moment, I'm able to make myself feel okay about it. But in long term, I don't necessarily know how well
you still beat yourself about
I've done with that. But then on the other side, it's like I think like this is like the beauty and the curse of religion. Like you're able to say, you know, there are things bigger than you that are operating and things coming into play, and God has plans and da 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 da. But then it's just like, bro, was this my part of the plan that I dropped the ball on, or is this just not part of the plan? Like, and I think it's been a very hard thing for me to navigate in the same way. I think like law school, business, like the last year and a half has been killing me in ways that I didn't really like even know to begin to rationalize. Like, I think like I definitely supposed to rationalize them. I feel like I've definitely like failed myself for a lot of things and goals that I had, and I just don't. I'm just like trying to figure it out, and I'm trying to like in those moments still give myself the grace and the space to be, but then it's also like, all right, how much grace and space till you start to move?
Yeah. You gotta know when to cut out forgiving yourself sometimes.
I don't know. I don't want to ever use forgiveness as a crutch. I don't want to use me forgiving myself as a crutch to me accomplishing things for myself. And I think that's a lot bigger than even the concept of forgiveness. I think that's like cultural. I think that's like race. I think it's for me, I'd rather fail or succeed, but being average is not okay for me. So I think I think those are bigger things, and like me being able to see that is now me having the conversation like, well, it's not really a problem. Like that's my whole thing of going through it.
I think
I don't know.
It was important for us to define forgiveness because it's more than just acknowledgement. It's now getting rid of the hurt, the anger towards what happened. But it's also interesting when you were triggered. You could have been triggered. You realize where you could have been triggered at, and you know that in that moment you forgive yourself. You ever been like, okay, like for me, ghosting is one of the things that I have come to realize is not something that is right. It's something that needs work, right? Something that I'm trying to work on, and the results of me doing it. And when something triggers you to now do it again, or something triggers you to see, okay, this is what resulted from that, and you're just like, okay,
make better choices.
It's okay.
Are you actually forgiving yourself for the act, or are you proud of yourself for moving forward and now it makes it easier?
I think it's part of forgiveness because I'm able to see at that moment that's all I could give. I'm able to see at that moment that was all I knew how to do. That's all I knew how to move. And now that I'm older and older and seeing the other side of it, I'm able to forgive that past version because I still feel like that evolution stage, that version 3.0,
right,
and know that 3.1 is better. I think that's forgiving yourself and seeing that, okay, 3.0 was all she could give. Right. She can only hold 5 apps. And that's the reason why she acted like that. That's why she was bugging out. Okay? I acknowledge and I'm not angry about it, you know. Could have felt some type of way. But okay, we at 3.1 now. We at 3.2.
So can I?
And it's okay. Yeah. It was okay.
So can we take that same mindset now for others? Not to take it back there, but to take it back there. Like when things happen with people, seeing.
Okay, that was the 3.1 version of
that. That's all they. And I, once again, I'm not saying that you have to invite them back in the same capacity, but I'm still talking about like the nuances of like the mediocre, the average, the minute behaviors.
That's all they could give at that time.
Being able to see like this is where they were, and that's what they could give, and they don't have to come back to this in the same capacity. But I'm not going to go above and beyond to excommunicate them either, because I think like that's like the X part. And this is why I'm talking to you, like we know this, and that's why I'm asking it.
That's the agree to disagree.
Because how are you able to forgive yourself for those behaviors but not forgive?
That was all they could give, and the result of that is that they don't have access to this 6th app. At that moment, they could only handle 5 apps, and because they could only handle 5 apps, certain things happened. Now that they reached their 3.2. My app is now not compatible with them.
I 100%
and therefore, because we're not compatible, all you will get from me is the $25 out of the $50 that you're gonna ask me in this.
What I'm saying is, I agree with that because I'm very big. Is it okay? I love that you finally got to a point where I've had a situation with somebody that Ashley knows the ins and outs of. Like last year, they were like they want to talk. We went to eat. It was a whole thing. And they were like, I'm sorry, I see, but they didn't really say I'm sorry. But they were like, I'm able to see how that was crazy, da da da. And I'm like, I'm happy that you got to a point that you could see that. But that's where I was a year ago. Exactly. And the same way that you've grown in this last year, I've grown in the last year. I get that. I'm talking more about like the minute behaviors that sometimes come with us thinking we forgave.
That's outside of forgiveness, though. That's outside of forgiveness.
I think at this point, I think we kind of established that we forgive innately for the most part. Yeah. And we're talking about the behaviors that come after.
Like I said, that's why I brought that up. I don't read nothing. I don't reconcile. I don't read the prefix read.
Is there any space in your life where you're choosing to think about doing that now, though?
Because I don't. Okay, maybe this is a thing with me in conflict. I have never seen when you go over an obstacle that the path is still the same. The path is now different. Okay? After you go past the obstacle, the route is now different. You now walk differently because you know how to jump over something. You now, because the rock got in your shoe, you now have a hop to your step. It is not the same after an obstacle. So there is no for me.
That's not what I'm asking you.
No, it is. Because now, before, you were getting and when I come in the room, good morning. And now, because I have a pep in my foot, I'm not walking the same way. Now that I know how to jump over this, I might jump higher next time. I'm not falling in the same lake. I'm not like in the whole I don't give a damn episode.
I don't give a damn.
Me not seeing somebody is not extra for me. And I think that's where we differ, because that's your personality.
Really not even what I'm
that's
asking.
Your personality though. You seeing me not seeing somebody is extra. Me seeing somebody for me is extra.
That's not what I'm asking. The answer to my question is no, so we don't have to get into it. But I was literally just asking, thinking about the way that you can see that you hurt yourself and you've chosen to forgive yourself in hindsight, and all the steps that came after the forgiveness for yourself. I was just asking, is there any room in hindsight not to bring them back in your life in the same capacity? Because even the way
to see that they were version 0. I said yes.
Okay, I'm not even going to. She said yes. Zoom in here. She said yes. But that's not like that. That's not really where I was like going with that. But it's fine. It could also be the way
on the live.
No,
Yes.
honestly,
The live recap.
you don't really have to.
Why not?
I'm good.
With that being said, let's conclude with a quote from Colleen Hoover. She said,
"No matter the sad books."
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no matter how much you love someone, the capacity of that love is meaningless if it outweighs your capacity to forgive. I'll say that again.
Sheesh.
Psych. I'm not gonna say it again. He had his time. But
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe,
it's kind of heavy.
and thank you for joining another episode of Honey, It's Yours.
And I don't feel like this episode is finished.
It's
but
not. It's over, but it's
join
not
us-
finished.
It's not finished. So join us on the recap. Thank you for listening, and maybe we'll have another conversation about conflict, forgiveness,
We are gonna talk about conflicts.
because I still feel heavy.
Conflicted?
The
You
bubble
feel
guts.
conflicted?
No bubble guts.
Just guts.
But I feel like there's a there's a ellipsis
Yeah, I feel that.
Ellipsis?
or a
Ellipses?
Man,
yo. You know what?
Alright.
Raccoon. If you bring to this part of the episode, please DM me a raccoon. Bye.
What's the shooting raccoons?
Do-do-do-do.